Guys, and welcome to the AC Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. I'm your host, Alden K. For this episode, we're going to start off with the Diamondbacks. I'll give some updates on spring training, about the games that have been going on lately. We'll talk about the Diamondbacks extending Justin Martinez to a 5-year extension for $18 million. And we'll talk about Zach Gallen being announced the opening day pitcher for the opener against the Chicago Cubs, and then we'll move on to the Cardinals. They added some depth by signing Jalen Jones and Royce Newman, a little bit of depth that they can add, and then we'll talk about the Suns a little bit. They win back-to-back games for the first time since January. A little bit of controversy, Devin Booker talking about the season so far, the disappointing season that the Suns have had so far. We'll talk about the comments that he made, and then we got some March Madness to talk about. GCU losing to Maryland, and we'll talk about some GCU baseball as well. We'll talk some U of A. U of A beat Akron 93-65, and they go to the second round. We'll talk about U of A baseball as well, and then we'll close out with ASU baseball, who go 2-2 this week, and we'll keep in trend with the college hoops as March Madness continues to go. Here, you're listening to the AC Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Here, a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, big shout out to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and of course, shout out to IE Sports Radio. And also make sure to check out our newest sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Use the promo code IESR for 10% off. Take advantage of any discount that you guys can get your hands on, especially important supplements. Make sure to take advantage of those deals that you can get off, and make sure to follow me on X on both accounts that I run with at AZ Sports Zone IE, where I'll retweet a bunch of updated Arizona sports news, give my thoughts on everything, and pretty much just keep everyone on tabs who are interested in Arizona sports. And then my personal X account at the AZTRL, where I am the unfiltered Alden K. So if you want to get a good laugh in, talking trash about my division rivals, then, have at it. And of course, if you guys love the AZ Sports Zone, make sure to become a supporter. If you become a supporter, it's only $5 a month. I may give you a shout out. I may even have you on the show at one point. So if you're interested and if you enjoy the show, showing support is very important, and I would greatly appreciate it. And before we get to our first topic, our Beantown Sports Pound host, Brian, is in the chat. How are you doing, Brian? Great show on Wednesday. And of course, Taryn Rodriguez tuning in before the show starts. How you doing, Taryn? All right, so let's get into our first topic, which is the Diamondbacks. So I'll give some updates on some spring training games, because spring training is still going on as we get closer to opening day. We are only 6 days away. 6 days away from opening day. Opening day is right around the corner. Cannot wait for for regular season baseball to come back. The Diamondbacks tend to be one of the only Arizona teams that we can really have fun watching nowadays. I mean, sheesh, the Suns are disappointing this year. The Cardinals are on the rise, hopefully, after coming off of a pretty good offseason. But the Diamondbacks are by far the biggest contenders that Arizona sports have right now. So lately, since the last time I went live, the Diamondbacks were 3-3 in their last 6 spring training games. They had a doubleheader on a couple of them. They lost both of those games. One to the Royals, they got demolished 12-1, and then in the second game they got demolished by the Angels, and they lost 11-5. And Merrill Kelly had a pretty rough outing in that Angels game. So one of the fewest times we saw Merrill Kelly struggle a little bit on the mound in spring training. But since that, they played the Rockies on Wednesday, and they won 1-0. Jordan Montgomery actually had a pretty solid outing in that game. He pitched 3 innings, only gave up 3 hits, 1 walk, and 0 runs. And ever since he had that game, it was reported that certain teams had interest in him. Really just depends on if, a team is willing to get him at the right price. But we also saw Bryce Jarvis in that game. He pitched 2 innings as well, did not give up a run as well. So that Rockies game looked really good among the pitchers. And all the D-backs needed in that game was 1 run. So, hey, we'll take it, I guess. And then they played the Athletics. And I got to remember, I can't call them Oakland anymore. Or any city for that matter. But Zach Gallen pitched in that game. He pitched almost 5 innings. He only gave up 1 run. He gave up 5 hits and 2 walks. And we saw a lot of our bullpen in that game, too. Kevin Ginkel pitched an inning, didn't give up anything. A.J. Puck pitched an inning, went perfect in that inning. We saw Justin Martinez give up 2 runs. So Justin Martinez tends to continue to show a few bad signs here and there, but hopefully that gets cleaned up as we get closer to opening day. Scott McGuff pitched a perfect inning, and so did Taylor Rashi as well. So, and the D-backs ended up winning that game 11-3. And currently, the Diamondbacks are playing right now against the Milwaukee Brewers. It's at least on here, it says it's the bottom of the second, and the D-backs are currently down 6-4. And Corbin Burns did pitch in that game, and he gave up 2 runs in the first inning. And then the D-backs scored 4 runs in the first inning to take the lead, and now they are down again to Milwaukee 6-4. And their upcoming schedule, they're playing the Giants tomorrow, the White Sox, and then the Padres. They have 2 straight games against Cleveland to end spring training. And then that brings me to my next topic. They take on the Chicago Cubs on opening day next Thursday, March 27th. It's a 7 o'clock p.m. game, so we're already sticking to the late games here in Arizona sports. But when they play the Cubs in that 4-game series, it was officially announced by Torey Lovello that Zach Gallen will be the opening day pitcher for the Diamondbacks when they take on the Cubs. Now, the Cubs have yet to announce who their opening day pitcher will be, and then again, they are just coming out of a 2-game series in Japan, and they got swept in that series. They had Imanaga and Steele pitching in that series. So, but then again, the Cubs do have a week off from that because of spring training. So I would expect the Cubs to have all of their starting caliber pitchers available against the Diamondbacks. So we could maybe see Imanaga once against us. Same thing with Steele. Same thing with Talon. Depending on the Cubs' full rotation, we may even see a lot of their bullpen against the Diamondbacks. But as of us for opening day, Zach Gallen is the opening day pitcher. And honestly, I think that this was the right decision. Because Zach Gallen, he has been the ace of this team for the past few years. This is his team, despite having a rough year last season. At the end of the day, he started for the Diamondbacks these past few years. Yes, Corbin Burns, he's a Cy Young caliber worthy pitcher. But then again, Zach Gallen proved that he can be at that point as well. We saw him in 23. 24 wasn't his best outing. So now in 25, with a brand new pitching coach in Brian Kaplan, he has a chance to have a vengeance season and get back to the Cy Young category that we used to see in 2023. So I think that, and to be honest, a lot of people knew that it was going to be Gallen from the start. I mean, yes, Corbin Burns is Corbin Burns coming off of a very good season, but, at the end of the day, like I just said, this is Gallen's team. He's been the ace. He's been the ace for the Diamondbacks for a while now. So I do like the decision. It kind of boosts his confidence a little bit too, as to trying to have a bounce back year. It's just, I think that it's kind of better actually knowing that you have two ace caliber worthy pitchers and they're both going to be playing in back-to-back days, because I would expect Corbin Burns to be the day 2 starting pitcher. And then honestly, the rest of the rotation, it's that talented that it's honestly a little bit questionable at who to put at 3, 4, and 5. You have Brandon Pfaadt, who has dealt well. You have Eduardo Rodriguez, who's having a really good spring training so far. And then, of course, the number 5 spot with Merrill Kelly, I would assume. And then there's the bullpen as well. The Diamondbacks may have a couple starting caliber pitchers in the bullpen this year, unless they end up trading 1 or 2 of them. If they keep Ryan Nelson on the opening day roster and Jordan Montgomery, they could have 2 starters in the bullpen to start the season, because Torey has announced that he isn't a fan of the 6-man rotation. So I would expect both of them to stay in the bullpen, and that's what it's looking like. I think that with all the starters that they have, it's really hard to have a full 5-man rotation with this team, because they have so many capable guys that can be the starters. But after waiting for so long for an announcement from Torey Lovello, it's finally official that Zach Gallen is the opening pitcher for the Diamondbacks this season. And some other good news today brings me to my next ticker. The Diamondbacks have extended Justin Martinez to a 5-year deal for only $18 million. Only $18 million. I was really surprised by this extension, especially after he came off of a very good season. And I believe this deal, I think it also includes 2 opt-outs as well. So they have Justin Martinez on a team-friendly deal for the next 5 years. And this is the guy who is going to be the star closer in the future. I mean, yes, his spring training so far this year has not been promising. Let's hope that he cleans that up as we get closer to opening day. Remember, we have less than a week until opening day. And I think that with this type of contract, it's not like he has a whole lot of thrown away money or anything like that. But with $18 million for 5 years, literally a team-friendly deal that for a guy who had a ERA below 2, honestly, he would deserve a little bit more money than that. But they have him under contract for 5 more years now. This is the guy that's going to be the future of the D-backs as far as the bullpen goes. And, I'm happy they were able to get a deal done right now. And that they can just move on with this, get closer to opening day. They extended another one of their guys. And now it's all about him delivering it in the regular season. Because he came off of a very good year in 24. In 23, he was still getting used to the majors, which is why he was on and off from majors to AAA, this and that. But now that they've extended him, coming off of a good year, it's all about having another good year after another good year now for Justin Martinez. I do like the contract. No D-backs fans should be complaining about this type of extension right here. Literally a team-friendly deal. This isn't even, it's not like they overpaid the guy or anything like that. This is literally one of the best deals I think Mike Hazen has done. This is a really good extension right here. And now it's all about him being the star closer for the Diamondbacks. I think Martinez is capable of being an all-star and being able to close a lot of games for the Diamondbacks, especially with the kind of team that the D-backs have. They were in quite a bit of close games last year. They gave up quite a bit of runs last year. They scored a lot of runs last year. They had the most runs out of every team. So going into 2025, I already know the D-backs, they're going to be in a lot of close games this year. That's always been the identity of this Diamondbacks team. They do find a lot of ways to win it close games as well and give the fans a lot of heart attacks, this and that. So, is what it is. But I'm glad that they were able to sign their future closer, I should say, because Torey did come out and say that he doesn't have a decision on who's going to be the closer for this game after this game after this game. He said that it's going to depend on matchups. And I think part of the statement was also who's been playing the best lately. So the closer for the D-backs this year, it's not one person. It's going to be multiple people. So it's going to be Martinez. You're probably going to see Kevin Ginkel. You're probably going to see guys like, we might even see Ryan Thompson occasionally, even though I didn't like his closing last season. In fact, he had a downfall when he was closing. Now that Paul Sewald is gone and not looking as well as he was in 23, the Diamondbacks need to find their closer as soon as possible. So, but this extension right here was very important, and I like the extension. I think it was very important to get this done, and this was an overall pretty good move for the Diamondbacks. So I'm glad that they got that done. 6 days away from opening day against the Chicago Cubs. Cannot wait. D-backs baseball is almost back. Really looking forward to this season. We're going to go into a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Cardinals adding some depth by signing defensive back Jalen Jones and offensive lineman Royce Newman. And we'll talk about the Suns as well. They won back-to-back games for the first time since January. And we'll talk about Devin Booker making some comments about the Phoenix Suns season so far. So don't go anywhere. When we go into a quick break, we will be right back to talk about Cardinals and Suns. You're listening to the AZ Sports Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Be right back.
What's good, sports fans? It's your boy Aaron Yell, and if you are looking for sports takes that live a mile above the rest, look no further than Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Want to talk about NBA MVPs and champions? Yeah, that's us. Perhaps a baseball team that no matter how they play, you just can't quit them? Yep, we've got that too. What about Stanley Cups, NHL award winners in the burgundy and blue? You got it. How about Buffaloes that run, pass, shoot, dunk? You bet. For all things Colorado sports, look no further than right here every Sunday at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 8 Mountain, and 7 Pacific. Because if that light is red and the kids are in bed, you are listening to Mile High Musings, where we praise the Lord and cheer for them Denver Broncos. Stay good, sports fans.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernick, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We just covered the Diamondbacks. We're getting closer to opening day. I really can't wait to talk about regular season Diamondbacks when the season comes. Next Friday, we'll definitely talk about their opener against the Cubs. As I just stated, Zach Gallen was named the opening day starter for the Diamondbacks, and now we head on to the Cardinals segment. Not a lot to talk about regarding the Cardinals. We pretty much covered everything that they had going on in free agency, and they had a really good offseason. They really beefed up the defensive line, which was the most important part in free agency. Now it's really just about signing the depth pieces and then some. They did sign Bears defensive back Jalen Jones. A lot of Bears fans did say that he didn't really start a lot last season, but he was good when you needed him to play. So, I'll take the Bears fans' word on it. And then they signed offensive lineman Royce Newman. Just another depth piece. Like I said, a lot of signings that the Cardinals make are either going to be re-signs or depth signings at this point. There's a lot of fans who still want Trey Hendrickson, and at this point, I think that all this Trey Hendrickson trade rumors is just talk, and I think he's going to be with the Bengals next season. I don't see him getting traded at all. So, and $30 million a year, I said this last week, the guy's not worth it. He's, getting up there in age. He's in his early 30s now. It's like $30 million a year for, a guy who would improve our defensive line. But while the Cardinals still have the sixth highest cap space in football right now, they could use that for a lot more than just Trey Hendrickson, or any other big name pass rusher for that matter. So I don't see the Cardinals making another big move in free agency or with the trade market, this and that. They did sign 2 depth pieces though recently. So honestly, the secondary, you can just take about anybody at this point. Like, sign anybody to help out Budda Baker. Sean Murphy-Bunting was terrible last season. So, maybe Jalen Jones can take his spot. That's how bad Sean Murphy-Bunting was. And that was another $20 million that Monty Ossenfort threw out, by the way. So, I'll say this. Monty Ossenfort has really made some hits in the draft in his 2 years in Arizona, going on to 3. But free agency, the Monty Ossenfort signings, they were not good until maybe this offseason, depending on how Josh Sweat plays this upcoming season. And same thing with Dalvin Tomlinson and, all these other guys that the Cardinals brought in. And, of course, we still talk about them having younger guys on the D-line, too, like Darius Robinson and B.J. Ojulari, who's coming back from an ACL tear. So at the end of the day, I really do like the offseason that the Cardinals had, not just because they got players that they needed, but because they still have a lot of cap space available. They were able to get the players that they needed while still having a top 10 cap space. So it's not like they're spending money like a bunch of stupid people that, don't know what they're doing. So far, it looks like Monty knows what he's doing. So I do like the offseason that the Cardinals have had, and I hope it really stays that way regarding the salary cap. I don't necessarily think that they need to make another big money throwing move or anything like that. If anything, they can wait until the trade deadline to do that. Even though we haven't really seen Monty get involved that much in the trade deadline in his first 2 years. But then again, the first 2 years, Cardinals were a rebuilding team, especially the first year he was here. The second year, yeah, we were above 500 at the trade deadline, and maybe he could have made a move, but he didn't, except for Baron Browning, which is another guy I think can be impactful on the D-line this upcoming year as they re-signed him to a 2-year deal. So with all of these moves that they've made so far, me personally as a Cardinals fan, I think that my attention is no longer really on free agency. It's mainly on this upcoming draft. We're about a month away. You know, there's a lot of guys that the Cardinals can get, especially defensively or offensively. They're picking 16th. Then again, 16th is actually a really good spot to pick in this draft. You know, there's obviously not, especially defense too. I think this draft is mainly all about defense. You know, regarding offense, there's not really, there are some really good guys, but I think for this draft, it's going to really depend on the defense that the Cardinals take, and worry about the offense in the later rounds. And like I said, as we get closer, we'll talk about a little bit of mock drafts and what they've been doing and this and that. So we'll just leave it at that. I think that the Cardinals, without a doubt, they've had a really good offseason so far. I'm really looking forward to see how they take it into this upcoming season. So, but like I said, we're a month away from the draft. I think the Cardinals have really shifted their attention to the draft at this point. And you know, there's not really a lot more options that the Cardinals can really do in free agency at this point. I mean, the latest news regarding free agency right now is probably just Aaron Rodgers. And honestly, quite frankly, nobody wants Aaron Rodgers at this point. Sup, Spongy? How you doing? He's asking me if... Yeah, I'll be on tonight, Spongy. Don't worry. Let me finish my show first. Okay, anyway. Now that we got the Cardinals out of the way, like, you know, now that free agency is pretty much wrapped up for the Cardinals, there's not really a bunch of news that we can talk about regarding them until we get closer to the draft. So let's move on to these embarrassing, disappointing Phoenix Suns. The more I talk about this team, the more I want to fall asleep. But the Suns did finally win back-to-back games, guys. They won back-to-back games for the first time since January. They beat the Bulls and the Raptors. Yay! Two amazingly tough teams, right? The Bulls and the Raptors. They beat the Raptors by 40 points, 129-89. Devin Booker shined in that game. Had a 40-piece. And then against the Bulls, and that 40-point game was against the Bulls, my bad. So he had 40 points against the Bulls. KD dropped 26. Colin Gillespie has been looking pretty good for the Suns ever since he started. He had 7 assists in that game. And then against the Raptors, I mean, it's almost like everybody showed up in the game. The Raptors were missing players. Booker had 27. KD only had 14. But then again, you know, they beat him by 40, so, you know, it's not like that. And then in their other recent games, they did lose to the Lakers when they didn't have LeBron. So they lost to the Lakers by 11 last Sunday. And then a week ago from today, the last time I went live, they beat Sacramento by 16. So they're actually 3-1 since I last went live, which is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a better record after I go live on a show. So, and currently right now, they are playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, the toughest team in basketball right now by far. It's the end of the first quarter, and the Suns are winning by 1 point. So far, Booker's got 5 points, KD's got 8, Colin Gillespie has 6. Royce O'Neal has 9 points off the bench in the first quarter. And Oso Ighodaro is starting at center for that game. For Cleveland, Darius Garland's got 7. Donovan Mitchell has not scored yet. Max Strus has 6. Evan Mobley's got 3. Jared Allen's got 6. And DeAndre Hunter's got 6. And Ty Jerome, former Phoenix Sun, has 6 off of the bench. So, pretty good first quarter so far. Suns are currently up by 1 point, but let's be honest, that's probably not even going to last that long. The Cavaliers, in my personal opinion, they're going to go to the finals unless they run into Boston. I think Boston and Cleveland are pretty much the 2 finalists to get past in the East at this point. Other than that, I mean, we look at the Western Conference right now. The Suns are currently back in the play-in tournament. They're at the 10th seed now. They have the tiebreaker over the Dallas Mavericks, who are 1-9 in their last 10 games. So they're back in the play-in tournament, which I guess counts as the playoffs. So they're in the playoffs. Holy crap, this is crazy. But it's looking like 10th seed is the Suns' spot to play for right now because of the fact that they're 2.5 games behind Sacramento. And then the Timberwolves, who are in 8th seed, they're currently 6.5 games behind the Wolves. And we have, I think, 11 or 12 games left in the regular season. So at this point, the highest Phoenix could probably get is the 9th seed. This has just been a rough season, and the Western Conference is so tough right now that it's really hard to climb up the standings when you're 4 games below 500 and 70 games into the season, and we only have 12 games left. So if the Suns could pull off some miraculous miracle, hopefully the Mavericks keep on losing. I mean, the Mavs have nothing to play for at this point, aside for pride, I guess. So I could see the Suns making the play-in tournament now. Realistically, the only thing that's really stopping them is how tough their schedule is, which is what Brian's point right here. Our teams play each other after his next show, which is on Wednesdays. Make sure to check out Brian's show, Beantown Sports Pound, every Wednesday. So yeah, the Suns play Milwaukee on Monday after today's game. So they have 2 days off after tonight, and then they take on Milwaukee, and then they take on Boston and Phoenix. Then they play the Timberwolves, Rockets, Bucks, Celtics again, Knicks, Warriors, Thunder, Spurs, and Kings. So do you hear how tough that schedule is? They have the Bucks and Celtics 2 times each. So they 4 games, 2 of them against the Bucks and Celtics. Then they got the Timberwolves. Then they got the Rockets, who are 2nd seed. And then they play the Knicks, who, despite the Knicks struggling lately, the Knicks are still better than the Suns. That's just the realistic fact. Then they play Golden State, who has been the toughest team in basketball since the trade deadline, or at least one of them. Then they play OKC, the best team in the West. Then they play San Antonio and Sacramento, which are probably the 2 easiest games that they have left on their schedule, and those are the 2 last games of the year. So yeah, look at that schedule. That is a very tough challenge for the Suns. But looking at this Cleveland game, it's a very close game right now. If they can beat Cleveland, get a little bit of some momentum going when they go back home, when they stay at home for this 3-game stretch against Milwaukee and Boston. If you face anybody in the play-in tournament, you have the equal amount of chances of winning. And if the Suns could get out of the play-in tournament, snag the 8th seed, I believe they would play OKC in the first round. First round exit or not, considering the season that the Suns have had this year, first round exit, I'd be happy with that. It's like, oh my God. I'm a fan of a team with no titles, and I'm saying I'd be happy with a first round exit at this point. Like, the Suns' season has been so forgetful. I just do not. At this point, making the play-in tournament, I'd be happy. It's like, this season has been tough. And speaking of this tough season, Booker made some comments about the season so far. I want to remember if I retweeted it, but he basically said that superstars only get you to a certain degree. And Devin Booker made a point that he has been on teams with less talent and has done more. Devin Booker said that. He's been on teams with less talent and he's done more, which is true. It's true. He's had teams with less talent and he's done more than this. He was on a team with less talent and went to the NBA Finals. He was on a team with less talent and won 64 games in a regular season. He has had teams with less talent and had a perfect record in the bubble and barely came up short of the first round if it wasn't for Damian Lillard. So yeah, he's right. But for him to publicly say that, I kind of want to know, like, is Booker starting to kind of show signs that the Suns are breaking up their team this offseason, which they should. They really should. They should trade away Kevin Durant. They should get rid of Bradley Beal, even though it's not their choice. It's his choice at the end of the day. He's the one with the no trade clause, which I don't know which GM in the world thought that was a great idea over in Washington to give him. But yeah, the Suns season, they have a bunch of talent. This is one of the most talented Phoenix Suns rosters on paper you may ever see. Well, maybe not, but you get my point. And they're, by the skin of their teeth, are barely in the play-in tournament right now. This is probably the most disappointing Phoenix Suns season I've ever witnessed in my existence, which is saying a lot because there have been so many disappointing seasons I've witnessed. From winning 20 games a year, from winning 64 games in a year and getting bounced out in the second round by the fat Twinkie who plays in LA now. There's been so many disappointing seasons I've witnessed. This one's got to be number one. This one's got to be number one by far. You can't have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. You just cannot have these players and do nothing with it. Like any other team that would have these players right now, they might be champions by now. But see, that's the problem. The Suns spent money like a bunch of, I don't want to say idiots, but they spent money to at least try to improve the team, which is why I don't criticize Matt Ishbia that much, because at least he tries to improve the team. But it's getting worse. Like, you guys remember when we got Kevin Durant, I'm pretty sure we were in the playoffs. I know that. We finished the season at 4th seed. We lose to Denver, who goes on to win the title. Okay, cool. We lost to the NBA champions. It's whatever. But ever since we got Kevin Durant, this team has gotten worse. Like, when we got Kevin Durant, we thought he was going to improve this team. And we thought he was going to get us to where we wanted to be, which was finally winning a damn championship. But since then, they've traded Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. They brought in Nurkic, Grayson Allen, all these other guys, Royce O'Neal, this and that. And last year, they turned out to be the 6th seed, which was worse than what they were when they first got KD. They get swept by Minnesota in the most embarrassing fashion ever. And then this season, they're a play-in team. So you have to think it's time to hit the restart button because the Suns are getting worse. This isn't getting better. So I know people want to criticize Booker for the comments that he made, especially people who have odd hate for Devin Booker for whatever the reason. I don't know how Booker is one of the most hated players in the NBA. No idea. But I know people are, maybe even some Suns fans might not like the comments that he made, but I fully agree with the comments he made. He's telling the truth. He's been on teams with less talent, and he's gone farther than the team he's on this year. He's being honest about how the Suns have been this year, which is trash. The Suns have been trash this year. Like, they're so bad that you can't even try to defend them in any category. But as we get closer to the offseason, and as we get closer to the play-in tournament, which the Suns might make because the Mavericks are just they're a complete dumpster fire right now. I mean, Nico Harrison just completely ruined that team. But now that's that, I could see the Suns making the play-in tournament now. I really could. but they're not going much further than that. So, at the end of the day, overall disappointing season that a lot of Suns fans, including myself, really can't wait to be over. And they really need to just restart. Trade Kevin Durant. If you can, trade Bradley Beal. I hate saying this, but you have to rebuild around Devin Booker again. Booker wants to be a Sun for life, so rebuild around him again, even though he's almost about to be in his 30s. And he's going through another freaking rebuild. So, but that's the best bet that the Suns have at this point. Trade KD, get your return, get your young players, get your picks, whatever. I heard Houston is willing to offer picks for him. Yeah, sure, why not? Houston already has our picks anyway. Go get our picks back. So, it is what it is. We're going to go into a quick break, our second break. When we come back, we're going to talk about March Madness. We'll talk about GCU and U of A. And then we'll talk about college baseball as well to close off the episode here on AZ Sports Zone on the iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Wisconsin sports fans? I'm Dan, diehard Baholic, host of the Wisconsin Whistle. Check us out every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. We're talking Green Bay Packers, Milwaukee Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks, Marquette basketball, Wisconsin football and basketball, and all Wisconsin sports. Don't miss us each week, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We just now covered up the Cardinals and the Suns. Cardinals made a few depth pieces regarding the defense. And the Phoenix Suns, we just continue to talk their disappointing season. But hopefully they can close it out strong at least and show some signs of life going into next offseason, which we'll definitely cover a lot, because expect the Suns to be big sellers in the next offseason. But with that being said, let's talk some March Madness. I don't know about you guys. March Madness is literally one of my favorite times of the year, you know, being a college student and everything like that. You know, it really fits my sports interests, this and that. I feel like if you're a college student, you have no choice but to just watch March Madness all the time because, you know, it's kind of related to what, you know, you are. You know, you're in college, you're supporting your school, you're doing this and that. Fortunately, the school I root for was not in March Madness, ASU, but we have March Madness still in Arizona with two big Arizona teams. One of them won today and one of them lost today. So GCU, who was ranked 13th seed, got demolished by Maryland 81-49. So this was a very rough outing for GCU. Just it really it like this game was over by the first half. I mean, Maryland was up by, I think it was 13 or 14 going into halftime. Other than Grant Foster, who had 23 points for GCU, no one else really showed up. Ty Grant Foster was the only one that really looked like he wanted to win that game. So it just an overall terrible outing for GCU. And honestly, I did pick GCU to lose in my bracket. I did not think it was going to be by this much at all whatsoever. Just a very, very rough game for Lope fans and, the Antelopes. Man, just a very rough game. But, hey, GCU, at least you got there. ASU couldn't get there. So, you have that over any Sun Devil fan like myself at least. But, man, very rough outing. But let's talk about their baseball, which is almost no better. Their baseball team, since the last time I went live, that's when I say this week on my tickers, I'm talking about the last time I went live. So a week ago from today, so last Friday. Since then, GCU has gone 0 for 3. And they lost twice to Oregon State. Excuse me. So they lost twice to Oregon State, and one of them was 4-6. The second game was 3-1. And Oregon State's ranked 8th in baseball. So they were, I believe, 12-5 last time. Okay, yeah, so they were 12-5 the last time I went live. They're 12-8 now. They also lost one game to Santa Clara, and that was 3-8. So all around, it's been a rough week for GCU fans and their team so far. But overall, their baseball team, they play Abilene Christian for a 3-game series, and then they take on New Mexico, and then they take on Seattle U for another 3-game series, and then on April 1st, they take on U of A. So, pretty decent schedule for GCU coming up. But yeah, overall, that March Madness game today was very brutal on their part. That was just, oof. That was rough today. But now let's get to, this team's always hard to talk about considering they're my biggest rival. But hey, they're still Arizona, so I guess I got to show love in some way. U of A, on the other hand, U of A defeats Akron 93-65, and they advance to the second round of March Madness. So I believe they will take on the winner of, I want to say, Oregon and Liberty, which I think is currently going on right now. So that game is currently going on, and Oregon and Liberty is currently, Oregon is up 25-8. And the game literally just started. So, yeah, 25-8. So I'd say, it's going to be U of A and Oregon in round 2, which is what I predicted in my bracket. So, hey, at least, even though my bracket is not perfect anymore, I don't think anybody's bracket is ever perfect after the first round. So it just is what it is. But yeah, Oregon or U of A really looked good in this game from beginning to end on all cylinders. They were offensively, defensively, they looked really good. Caleb Love had 10 points, and Bradler had 19. So, I mean, U of A had 5 guys in double figures. All their guys showed up to play. They did what they had to do. I did think that this would be a closer game than people thought, because if you guys know U of A's history in March Madness, they do tend to disappoint quite a few people. So, I remember, and I'm still not going to let it go, when they lost to Princeton that one year and I picked them to go to, I believe it was the Elite Eight that year, and they got eliminated by Princeton. It was like, sheesh. But this time they get past the first round and they move on to the second round to take on, most likely, it'll be Oregon. The score, yeah, like I said, it's currently 23-8 right now. Yeah, and it just looks like that they'll move on to take on Oregon, and that should be a really good game too. Oregon and U of A. U of A was 4th seed going into March Madness. Oregon is 5th. So two really good teams competing in the second round. I believe I had U of A winning this next game against Oregon, and then I think if my bracket goes according to plan, it would be Duke and U of A, and then that's when Duke would eliminate U of A. So that's as far as I had U of A going in this tournament. So far, they're achieving expectations. So overall, but this was a very good game for U of A and their fans, and congrats to them on moving on to the next round to take on Oregon, unless Liberty pulls off a miracle comeback, which we'll see what happens here. But let's talk about U of A baseball now. U of A baseball continues to deliver. I mean, they are dominating. Like U of A, if you're a U of A fan, basketball and baseball, you're having the time of your life right now. Football is like the one thing I could brag regarding ASU about, but other than that, U of A has really been showing up. So since the last time I went live, which was the 14th of March, the U of A Wildcats have been 4-0 in baseball. They beat Cincinnati. They swept Cincinnati in the 3-game series. The first game they won 8-3. Second game it was 14-2. Third game it was 11-1. So their bats were alive in that game, big time. Their pitching continues to look good, and overall, they've really shown up. So the baseball, and they haven't lost a game since March 2nd against Tennessee, who I believe is ranked right now. I don't know the exact number, but I'm pretty sure that they are ranked right now. So other than that, yeah, U of A baseball continues to deliver. And it's about time they get the respect that they deserve, honestly. I mean, shoot, not losing a game in these past few weeks or so, soon to be few weeks. So U of A basketball and baseball have really been showing up lately. So before we wrap up this episode, let's talk about, I figure since we're talking all Arizona college teams at this point, we got to we got to include ASU in some way, right? We got to include ASU in some way, unless, there's Arizona fans in here who don't, who drastically hate them. But hey, so ASU baseball since last Friday, they've been 2-2 this week. They won the series against TCU. They took 2 games out of 3. They lost the first game 3-2. The second game they won 26-9. That's literally a football score. But they beat TCU. They put up 26 runs in that game in the Big 12 matchup, and then they won the second game in a close game and a high-scoring game too. They won 12-11. And then they lost their last game, which was on Tuesday against USC. They lost 6-3. So that was a bad game. Yeah, the pitchers did not show up in that game. And then their upcoming schedule, they're taking on the Kansas Jayhawks for a 3-game series. And then they're taking on the University of Las Vegas for 1 game. And then they're taking on Utah for a 3-game series. And then they got Cal State Fullerton. And then that's when they play U of A again on April 4th to April 6th. And they have a 3-game series against U of A. And it's in Phoenix. So U of A or ASU's got a pretty tough schedule coming up. So for baseball, so let's hope that they can start getting it going and go on a win streak here, because overall, pretty much every baseball team regarding college in Arizona, they've looked pretty good this year. All of them are above 500. U of A's been the best one by far, though. So. That U of A and ASU series. See, every time U of A and Arizona plays in pretty much any sport, I got to take a look at it. And I got to mention it on the show. Biggest rivalry in Arizona. I am a Sun Devil for life, but we will go with that. But anyways, that is going to do it for episode 36 here on the AZ Sports Zone. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me here on this Friday evening. Shout out to Brian, Taryn, and Sponge. We will be back at it next Friday to continue talking Arizona Diamondbacks. Next episode, we will talk about their opening day matchup when they take on the Chicago Cubs. We will talk about the Suns a lot more as we get closer to the end of the regular season. We'll talk about the Cardinals if they made any more moves. And then, of course, if U of A keeps going far in March Madness, we'll continue to talk about them as well. And, of course, college baseball. I will keep giving updates regarding college baseball. But next Friday, 7 o'clock p.m., Mountain Standard Time, make sure to tune in to get the latest Arizona news from yours truly, Alden K. Once again, guys, make sure to follow both of the X accounts that I run, AZ Sports Zone IE and at the AZTRL. And if you're interested and if you like the show, become a supporter. Once again, like I said, I may even have you on a show one day, and I may even give you a shout out as well. So if you're interested, the link's below. Make sure to become a supporter, $5 a month. Shout out to our sponsors, of course, Planet Jerky, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. And of course, shout out to IE Sports Radio. Happy to be back here on another Friday evening with you guys. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. See you guys next Friday, and I'm gone.